Welcome to the podcast with Kylie Nichols. The goal of this podcast is to inspire you through both my story and the stories of other powerhouse women to take that first step towards living the best version of your life. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, and get ready to get started with Kylie Nichols. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. It's Friday, you are with Kylie Nichols, and today I have a really special guest. I'm so excited to welcome Faye Jacobs to the podcast. She's from the Midwest Innocence Project, originally from Arkansas, now here in Kansas City, and just an incredible spokeswoman for the organization that she works with. So I'm really excited to have her on today and talk about her story and all the things we can learn from her journey. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here and you'd allow me to share your platform here today. Yeah. I'm just excited to be here.
Good. Yeah. Well, we just found out this is the Faye's first podcast. She's done so many speaking events and been on the news and all the things. I feel honored to be the first podcast, so we'll try to make it great.
Awesome. I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Well, why don't I let you introduce yourself and you have a lot of story you could tell, but get us started and we'll introduce you.
Yeah. So as she said, I'm Faye Jacobs, but my name is Laquanda Jacobs. I just go by Faye, which is my middle name, from Little Rock, Arkansas. I've been here in Kansas City since September of 2018. Love this beautiful city. I love it. I love it here. I don't think I ever want to go back to Arkansas to live.
That's okay.
I want to continue to reside here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have my parents here with me who I care for daily. I have two beautiful babies, Bella, a tiny teacup chihuahua, and Mercy, who is a schnauzer, awesome. Mercy Grace. And so, yeah, that's my life. It revolves around my babies and my parents.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, so your life has kind of come in sections. I think a lot of us have phases in our life, but you kind of had your first part of your life. And for those who don't know your story at all, you were incarcerated, wrongfully incarcerated.
Correct.
For years. And so part of why we want to share your story and hear that. So, tell us about, I guess, how you grew up, where you grew up in Arkansas, and then kind of what happened to lead you into the next 26 years.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so I come from a great big family, 6 brothers and 6 sisters.
Wow.
A lot of siblings, a big family. But I grew up in Arkansas all my life. But back in the late 80s, early 90s, Little Rock was on the rise of gang violence, really, really bad. And the law enforcement was forced to do something about the many crimes that were occurring during that time. And at the age of 16, I was still in high school, typical teenager.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget, my life changed February the 9th. I was arrested, accused of killing a friend who was actually 16 as well, my own friend. And my life had totally changed then. It hasn't been the same since. But on that day, I was brought in for questioning about a killing of my friend, which at the time I didn't know it was him that had been killed.
Yeah.
It was later on, like 2 weeks later, that I found out it was him, and I was the one they were accusing.
Oh my gosh.
And during this time, it was such a long process. Just to give you a little background, my family and we knew nothing about the law or anything. And so when I was accused of this horrible crime, we had no clue.
Yeah.
That, are you kidding me? This can't be. I'm a typical kid. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't have a record of getting in trouble or anything. I was in high school, about to graduate. And so to be accused and brought into the system like that was just overwhelming for my parents, myself. It was new. None of my siblings had ever been in trouble as well. Oh. I'm the baby of the family. And so their little sister, all my siblings, they're looking, my little sister is in jail for murder, and my parents are thinking, this can't be. What happened? I come from a great big family, like I said, and a spiritual family. My dad raised us in the church. That's our foundation.
Yeah.
And, that's what has kept me. my foundation, my faith. And so to be accused like this, it's a blow. It's a blow to our church community.
Yeah, I bet.
Everybody's in shock, cannot believe this.
It's like a nightmare. Like, they're going to wake up. What's going on?
Exactly. And I'm sent to jail, and I'm being questioned about a crime that supposedly happened and I knew nothing about. And so that day they actually released me. I was actually released that day. Because they did a gun residue on me. And because the gun residue come back negative, they said, we're going to let you go home.
Thank goodness.
And so they let me go home, but it was 9 days later that they came searching for me for this crime, horrible crime. And I went to prison. I spent 26 years there.
Oh, my word.
And, going to prison for a crime you didn't commit, you have a lot of people that go to prison and, are guilty.
Yeah.
But I wasn't guilty. So I was put there with the guilty. And I was singled out, and I was treated certain ways because I had a label on me as a kid killer. That's that killer that killed a kid, another kid killer. They had all kind of terminologies for me. And that was a lot that I had to endure from not just inmates, but staff as well, and security, because they thought that I was just this monster.
Someone you totally were not.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it was a trauma.
I can't even imagine.
I was deprived of a lot of things because of this. And, I can't say that my whole incarceration was a bad thing. I truly believe it was a blessing in disguise in spite of.
Yeah.
I'm not angry. I'm not
amazing.
Bitter, but it's not me. It's the greater one on the inside of me that I'm the way I am today. But I'm grateful for the Midwest Innocence Project that took on my case. In 2014, I had wrote numerous of letters to people asking, and when I say people, I'm meaning the innocent projects. I wrote numerous of innocent projects all over the world.
Oh, wow.
And they would always tell me, you're on the waiting list, you're on the waiting list. And I stayed on the waiting list a very long time.
That's tragic on so many levels. The fact that there's such a waiting list that you couldn't get anybody to help you, that you had to continue to wait.
Yes. And so, they eventually took my case, but when they told me they would take my case, my name had come up, they would take my case. I had to do this lengthy application that I'm thinking is to discourage people from doing it. But when you're determined and you know that you're innocent and you want to be out this place, all I ever wanted was to reunite with my family again and be normal again. That was a desire that I constantly had, a burning desire.
I can't imagine.
And so, but 2014, they took my case and I did this, of course, application that took me a whole week to do. Actually, a whole week to do this application. And I did it and they took my case. But the fascinating thing about this application, when you get this application, it's stated at the top, if you're guilty, if you participated, if you were there, basically don't waste our time.
Yeah.
You have to be actually innocent. And so I'm grateful that they believed in me, that they did their homework, that they called the investigators and did everything to prove my innocence, something that my court pretender could have done. I sat in jail, and before I went to trial, I never seen my trial attorney until the day of trial.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, he came and spoke with me, and I'm just a young girl, never been in trouble with the law. You have railroaded me into this system, and here I am just sitting here in a jail cell, and you come tell me we're going to trial today. I have your parents getting you some clothes so you can look presentable. What do you mean, look presentable? I wasn't even comprehending what this guy was really even saying, and went to trial, and it was a 2-day trial I had. And I actually had 11 jurors. I started off with 12, but one of the jurors got sick. And so I ended up continuing on. And my attorney, who I had at the time, I call him a pretender, but he was a well-known, prominent attorney there in Little Rock, Arkansas, well-known. But he had gotten in a lot of trouble. A lady that he had began to date had been accused of killing his wife.
Oh, my word.
And he was implemented in it. And so his career was just like really going down. He had no credibility with the judge anymore, with the prosecutor.
And he was your guy?
And he was my guy. And later on, which the Midwest Innocence Project later found out that he was drinking every day. He was a severe alcoholic. It was such a bad deal. They end up making a movie.
Oh, my word.
A movie and a book.
It's not funny, but it's just so bad. That's just, it's so stacked.
Yeah. And this was one of the, like I said, he was a well-known attorney before my case came about, but he had lost all credibility. No one believed in him. I mean, because of he had been committing infidelity, and then the lady ended up killing his wife.
Oh, my word.
And so, he was just an alcoholic, and so he just did not represent me. He did not put the evidence out there to show my innocence. And because of that, the jurors found me guilty, and they sentenced me to life without parole. I don't know if you realize what life without parole is, but life without parole in the state of Arkansas is your actual life. You can't leave until you're dead. You have to actually die. So just imagine a 16-year-old being told you got to spend the rest of your life. But when I was told that by the judge, it didn't really register to me. I didn't comprehend. No. So after trial, I thought I was going to go home and they was just going to watch me for the rest of my life. I didn't even comprehend the fact that no, you are going away for the rest of your life. Because when I got to the jail, I was like, I'm going to get out. They're going to watch me for the rest of my life. And the jailer had to tell me, no, you're going to prison. And I said, no, I didn't kill anybody. Why am I going to prison? Just did not comprehend it, and to be through in there and soon you get there, you got people waiting on you because you're labeled because my case was a high profile case. And because of the different things that was going on in Arkansas at the time, they were saying they was using me as an example to other young gang members. Yet I wasn't a gang member, but I was 16 years old, and they said it was the juveniles that were committing the many crimes that were occurring. So
you got to be the example.
I got to be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do to juveniles, and my parents not comprehending. I'm not comprehending. I mean, you got to be kidding. How could this be? This is impossible. How can you find me guilty of something I didn't do? But I've learned that that's something that's coming now. It's been like that, but I never would have thought that until it happened to me.
Yeah, you said your family wasn't familiar with the law. I wouldn't be either if somebody showed up at my house, and I don't think most people were. So did you guys feel like you had any options, or did you try to...
Well...
did your parents were they coming frequently to see you, or trying to find other ways? I'm sure you guys just never gave up hope.
My dad, he was such a go-getter, and he would go walk the neighborhoods trying to find out who committed this crime to get his daughter out of prison.
Can't imagine. I'm sure he would. Yeah.
The length that he went. And, he even went to different lawyers, asking them to take on my case. But, we didn't have any money. Yeah. He didn't have the money, the means to, give them the money that they needed and wanted to take on my case. So we were just, forced. I was forced in the system, basically just here. Now we got a closed case. And not only was I an example to other young gang members, as they said on the headline, it was election year. Bill Clinton had just got elected governor of Arkansas. Yeah. Yeah, at this time. And so it was just so much going
They're
on.
trying to clean up the streets, and they didn't want to. It's just open
Yeah.
shut case, huh?
Yeah, just like that. And
Life without parole, is that harder to overturn too? Takes a lot more work.
yes, so it is. It's very hard to overturn. Only way a life without parole can be overturned while you're in prison is through the governor. The governor, you would have to go before a parole board, and they would have to see technicalities, different things in the case, and then it'll be up to him. He has the ultimate say so as to, okay, yeah, I want to commune your sentence to time served, or I want to commune your sentence to a number of years. But it can be changed through the governor. Okay. That's it, but not the courts. That's it. Which my case is a very unique case. So, like I said, the Midwest Innocence Project took my case in 2014.
Yeah.
And was able, I said it took them like maybe 2 years to actually prove that I was actually innocent through all their investigations and everything. But prior to that, in 2012, the United States Supreme Court said that it was unconstitutional to sentence juveniles to life without parole.
Yeah.
This was in 2012.
Finally.
Yeah. So
did that help you?
Yes.
Okay.
It played a major part.
Good.
So the crazy thing about it, I was the only female in the whole state of Arkansas. The only female. So our population is thousands.
Yeah.
And I am the only female in the state of Arkansas who fell up under this law because I went in at 16.
Super ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was given life without parole. You had other juveniles that were there.
Yeah.
They were sentenced to life, but life and life without parole is totally different in the state of Arkansas. Life, you can get out on parole after you do so many years.
And then they watch you.
And they watch you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But life without parole, you don't get out. It's just no way possible to man to get out. And so that law came in effect, that it was unconstitutional and the crazy thing, while the Midwest Innocence Project was working on my case, different lawyers were contacting me saying, you are the only female here in the state of Arkansas and we want to take on your case. And I'm thinking, where were you 20 years ago?
Where have you been? This it's not just now that this was wrong.
Yes. Where have you been? And so, when I would get these letters and things like that, I knew that I had already sent letters to innocent organization, and that wasn't a concern to me for as, and what they wanted to do, just re-sentence you. So what we're going to do, we don't want to, it's unconstitutional to sentence you to life without parole. What we want to do is just sentence you to a term of years, and maybe after 50 years you can get out of prison.
But not overturn anything, not say you're innocent.
Exactly. But this is what the United States Supreme Court was doing. So, but that wasn't a concern to me. I wanted my innocence to come out. I wanted to be proven.
Yeah.
You got people working hard on my case to prove my innocence. I want this to come forth.
The truth. Yeah.
I want to be exonerated. I want my life back.
Yeah.
And so in the process of this, the Midwest Innocence Project filed a motion in the court, a habeas. That's what it's called, a habeas.
Look at you. You know everything now about it all.
They filed a habeas of my actual innocence in the court.
Yeah.
And in the process of filing my actual innocence in the courts, before the judge can rule on it and look at it and say, yes, she is innocent, the prosecutor out of the state of Arkansas who sentenced me to prison said, she falls up under the law that the United States Supreme Court said is unconstitutional. We want to release her now. We want her to get out of prison. We just want to release her. We don't want her to stay there 30 years, 40 years. We want to let her go now. And so once I walked out those doors, because I walked out the doors, the Innocent Project can no longer, you have to be in prison.
Yeah.
my case became moot. My petition just went away, went in the trash, because they couldn't make a decision because I was out. I couldn't. And of course, the prosecutor, when my attorneys filed my habeas, my action, they get a copy too as well. So they knew I was innocent. And instead of acknowledging and saying, let's make this right for her, we just want to let her out.
Sweep it under the rug. So, but then your record hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. They just said, get out of here.
Yeah,
you're done.
You're done. You're not on parole. You don't have to report. You don't have to do anything. But I have on my record that I am a convicted felon.
How are you going to get how are you going to have the rest of your life?
So let's make this right. So since then, the Midwest Innocence Project has petitioned the governor. He hasn't made a decision yet. But why wouldn't he? All the evidence is there. It's there. It's there. And you took my life away, so why not give it back? It's so common now. It's so many people, so many young men and women's life has been taken just because there was a bad police officer, a bad prosecutor, a bad judge. And so with no conscience, let's just take their lives. Hey, we're going home to our families. And that was the case with me and so many others. And it's just so unfair, that this has happened, but I believe it's a purpose for it. It's a purpose. And the governor has not pardoned me yet, but I believe that he is. All the years I spent in prison, I believed that I was going to get out one day. And I did.
You did.
I was resilient. I believe I did not give up.
That's so fascinating to me. And that it's, you can just feel it like resonating out of you, the hope, the belief, the positivity, the turning it from something so hard and being able to say, this was a blessing in disguise. I still could become somebody through this. And how did you do that? Did you have a period of time where you just felt hopeless and you just felt like, or
because I'm a human being.
Yes, you should. I'm hoping you had some of that.
I had days discouragement, days that I cried, days that I wanted to give up. Yes, I had many of those days, but even in the midst of wanting to give up, it was something nagging. You cannot give up.
Yeah.
He did not bring you this far to leave you. And I'm so encouraged by the story of Joseph, because I feel like my life is Joseph.
Yeah.
Getting out and being able to take care of my family, help my family, and take care of my parents and bring them together. And Joseph, he was wrongfully accused and yet, first he was sold into slavery and then accused by the man's wife, and it was just a bad deal for him
over and over.
And yes, but he found favor. While he was there, he found favor. While I was incarcerated, I found favor.
Tell me about that. I think that's so amazing.
So being there, it wasn't always sunshine. No. Oh wow, I went through a lot. While there, but the Lord would always shine and always bring people in my life and my path to, help me. I had people to come along and labor with me, and other people that were actually guilty of their crime. But, and even though I was saying I didn't commit this crime, they never questioned it. They never, none of that. They just took me up on their wings and just carried me. Other long timers, they were lifers, and they're still there, which I'm still in contact with them.
Oh.
But, they took me up under their wings and, showed me the ropes and kept me encouraged and motivated. And, and through that, I gained favor within the prison, and things began to turn around for me, and well, maybe she is innocent, maybe some of the staff said, and, and this girl is gifted. Let's utilize her, hey, we can maybe make some money off her, whatever. I don't know. But, they may have seen it that way, but I seen it as as favor. And when you have gift, God makes room for your gifts. And so he did that for me, while incarcerated. I was a part of different organizations within. We had an inmate council there to bring the inmates and staff together, in harmony, peace, and just and then our singing group was called the Prodigal Daughters. We were the Prodigal Daughters. And so it was such a pleasure to be a part of that, and and just to be given favor in the eyesight of man,
Yeah, in such a dark place.
Yeah, in such a dark place, a sentence with life without parole, and to be entrusted in the lives. I worked in a one part of my life, I worked in the mental health department, and while there, and it's a very sensitive area because you have inmates with mental issues, and to be entrusted in their lives and to be there with them, to share with them and sit down with them and talk, just having that opportunity. That was, you had to be trusted to work in that area. And then I was entrusted to work in the intake area, and that's when the people are coming in and going out. And so just a favor that God gave me while I was there, it's just amazing. And I think about it like, wow, you did that. And it taught me so much.
That's amazing. I'm so impressed and inspired by, we talked before about like maybe in prison you'd feel like you have such a small circle of influence, or maybe you feel like we would think you have no circle of influence, you're just stuck and you just have to wait. But like, I can see the good that you did in the circumstance you had, and in anybody's life that you came across. It's like, I'm going to do good. I'm going to be me. And then now you've got even more circle of influence and things. But it's just that optimism and that hope that you're able to give other people in that place is just so amazing.
Yeah. And I don't take the credit. I give all credit to God,
I love that.
for guiding me and, ordering my steps, and just being that person to put those people in my path and in my life, and to meet so many amazing people, in spite of, because prison is a place where you put bad people that, but everybody there is not bad, it's some good people there. And I met some amazing women there, and some of them are still there, and some of them have been released that I'm still in contact. And I'm just grateful for all the people that I met, and because I know it was a purpose, that they came across my path. And that was my season, to plant seeds there. Yeah. Those 26 years,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Joseph did the same thing. He found ways to do so much good in the places he was at with the people he had.
Yeah. And when he got out, there was a famine, and he was able to take care of his family, and so, and to me, to get out, and to, my parents was in a bad state. My mom was very sickly and about to be possibly put in a nursing home, but I was able to get her and bring her here with me and to take care of her. And so it's such a pleasure to take care of her, and she's doing well now. She has her ups and downs, but hey, she's doing so much better. She's happy that I'm home with her.
Yeah, I guess to spend time with you. She supported you through all those years.
Yes, she has. She has.
That's great. Where have you been? Were you able to be in contact with your family very much through the years, and been able to stay close with them?
Yes, definitely. So throughout my whole incarceration, my parents supported me. I lost my dad in 2001, which was a big thing because my dad and I were very, very close. But I'm grateful for my mom, because once my dad passed, she stepped up to the plate and really took on the mother and dad road. At first, she was just being a mother, but she took on both roads. So I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, my dad and I were very close. And I know it's because of my faith that I didn't lose my mind, because I could have lost my mind. I could have lost my mind to even be sentenced to life without, to be sent to prison, period.
Yeah.
You know, not even considering the sentence itself, but just to be sent. I could have lost my mind, but I never lost my mind. He kept me. He kept me through the dangers, through the different fights, things that happened. You know, that's something that I never encountered, the fights, and I never got hurt or anything. You know, he kept me. He protected me for 26 years. You know, I could have been on mental health medicine and all that. I never took medicine. You know, my dependency was up on the Lord. You know, I trusted him and amazing. He kept me, you know, and he continues to keep me, you know, now that I'm out, you know, and got out. And when I first got out, I went to Texas to a re-entry program, Sanctified Hope. It's a faith-based program. I went there for 65 days, you know, just to get reacclimated back into society. Oh, it was a good program. Wonderful people there in Weatherford, Texas that took me in. A girl out of Arkansas. There's another case. That was just the beginning of what God was going to do. And so I go there and my attorney's like, are you sure? Yeah, I want to reacclimate myself because I don't know anything. When I got out, they handed me a cell phone. I said, what is this? How do you use this? I don't even know how to turn it on.
Oh, my word.
You know, I had no knowledge of anything. I was totally oblivious.
I just feel like it came into the
everything.
Get transported to the future. Or
yeah, right.
Alternate universe.
You are absolutely right, because they took me into McDonald's and they were taking orders outside. It was like, I was like, what is that? I don't go to the cash register. That's what I'm accustomed to. That's what I remember 26 years ago. But no, that wasn't the case. It was just all new. So I was able to go there and learn a lot. I learned a lot there. And I left there, and my attorney flew me here to Kansas City, Missouri, where I reside now. Yeah. Love it here. Go Chiefs. Let me say that. Go Chiefs. And so anyway, they flew me here, and I was staying with my attorney for a while. And from there, I went to I went into another program called Journey to New Life. Okay. And Journey to New Life, that's exactly what it is. It was a journey to new life. That organization really got me on my feet, got me to rolling, where I was able to get a vehicle, get a house.
Yeah, did you have obstacles to getting all of those things because of your...
Well, of course, there were some obstacles. Yeah. But because Journey to New Life came in along with my attorneys on the side of me, and we were able to present it to the landlord, my situation, because it's a unique situation. Yeah. They trusted and
that's great.
And they allowed me to rent, and I'm just so grateful for that. And that just, once again, favor. Yeah. Nothing but favor of God, you know, even with my job, you know, they've never had a felony work there, but I'm the first, you know,
the nicest one ever. No.
Oh my God. It's just, you know, the things that God has put in my path since I've been home, and he continues to show me. And so I trust this process of the governor, you know, and I am optimistic that if this governor do not sign and say, I'm not going to pardon her, I believe the next one will.
You've got more chances. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not over, you know, so I'm very grateful. And hey, it's all in his timing. It's in his time. It's in his time, and not mine, not what we want. You know, like my dad, I know he would wanted me to be home before he died, but it wasn't that. That's not how the Lord saw that. You know, it's all in his time, and it's not our time. And so, I'm just grateful, you know, for opportunities. I'm grateful that I'm learning, you know, and I think about, you know, that time when I was 16 years old. If I look back and, you know, what could I have done different, you know, and I think about what I could possibly tell another 16-year-old, you know, when I look back over my life and I think about being 16 years old, you know, when you're 16, you think you know everything. You're so smart. You think you're probably grown, but that's not the case. But, you know, it's so important to put education first, you know, before friends. And in this day and time, I have a lot of nephews and nieces, and under the age of 10, and they're so smart with the computers and phones, and it's so important to them. And I think about when I was that age, we didn't know anything about a cell phone. They didn't even have them, you know, and so that's not important, you know. But if they would ever just grasp that education is just so much more important. And so, you know, what I would tell a teenager, you know, to always listen to your parents and always listen to your authorities. They are put there as your protection. At that time, we don't know that they're there for you, you know. Oh, mom don't understand. Dad don't understand. But they do. They do. It's so important to always listen, you know, because they were once 16.
Yeah.
They were once 16. And, you know, just putting your education first, you know, it's just so important, you know. I was still in school when I got locked up, so I was forced to get a GED.
I wondered if you're able to finish.
Yeah, I was able to get a GED, but because I had life without parole, I was robbed of opportunities to further my education.
Really?
You know? Yeah. So, you know, I'm big on education. It's so important because I lost that. I lost that, you know, and, you know, if I could just go back, you know, what would I do different? You know, I probably would it would be about education and family. And, you know, I don't think I would even have friends or, you know, I think my life would really be bored, you know, a bookworm or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I'm so impressed with the thread of gratitude. I don't know if I've ever met anybody who said they're grateful so many times.
Oh, because I am.
And which it's just amazing because I feel like the alternative and the easy route and the thing so many people would choose is to feel bitter, to feel angry, to feel like things aren't fair, or like maybe after getting out, feeling like, well, everybody, like, they took this from me, like they owe me more things, and you're just so grateful. Like it's so inspiring because that feels like a hard thing. But
I am, you know, when you've been down so long and so much has been taken from you, so much, it's like, you know, and not only did I lose my father, I lost my grandparents, I lost my sister, I lost my brother, I lost my nephew, I lost cousins. I lost so much while incarcerated and not being able to be there for my family, you know, and having to do it all by myself alone, just me and the Lord, you know. You just take on another different attitude, you know, mentality, you know, and just, you know, being while I was incarcerated, you know, how I was just forced to do so many things that, you know, that I took for granted when I was home. You know, I remember my parents when I was like 15 wanted me to help rake the yard and I didn't want to and mow the yard. I was like, no, but I did it, but it was grudgingly. But to be able to, I was forced to do it in there, you know. So now, you know, and so those are things that you take for granted, you know. Now you're being forced when you should have done it when it was told, you know, clean up your room. But if you don't clean up your room here in prison, you're going to go to the hole. You're forced to do things, you know. You got to wash dishes, things that, you know, we just took for granted, you know. But I'm so grateful. I love to wash dishes now. I love to clean my room, you know. It's just, you know, prison is a bad place, but, you know, that negative, you make it into a positive. And that's what I did, you know.
I'm so impressed by that.
I learned so much, you know, and not to be angry and bitter about it, you know, because it's not going to get you. What is it going to do? It's only going to hurt you, you know, and I've been hurt so much, you know, so, and, you know, the pain that they inflicted is passion, you know. I want to help. I want to make a difference. And so the Midwest Innocence Project, I'm so grateful that they took my case and they took me in, and they continue to utilize me, you know.
Now you're there shining light.
Yeah,
that you're just able to spread.
And, you know, we do things together. It's just a joy. It's a joy, you know.
Yeah. I'm so happy for you. And
Thank you.
we're so honored to hear your story and to just, we talked about it's really vulnerable to share all these hard things and experiences, but, I think it's so important for those of us who've never gone through something like that to see how you've overcome. It's so impressive.
Yeah.
So.
And there is hope, and not to ever give up. I think about there's always someone worse off than you. You think you have it so bad, but
that was me yesterday. I was crying, feeling bad for myself about dumb stuff, but we all have those days where we just feel like, this is the worst. I don't know how to get through these things that feel so big. But it seems like your simple approach, which is a big way, to something so hard. It's like, okay, we can all, someone always has it worse than us, even on our fine day that we feel like is bad or or really, really bad days. Like February 9th. And so, Well, as you look forward to the future now, you've got a future, you have choices. What are you most excited about?
I think I'm most excited about, being free. Free to make choices and right choices and not being forced to do something that I don't want to do or, worried about maybe like what's the word I want to say, just being totally free, and to have that having opportunities, to do things that that no one would ever believe, no one could believe this, and just having opportunities to take care of my parents, my mom and her husband, my stepfather, and so it's just a joy, and to reunite with family and meet new nieces and nephews. And I have a nephew there with me that I care for. He's there, but he's back and forth with me and his mom. But just to be in his life, to invest in his life, and it's just an honor. It's an honor, and I'm just excited about what tomorrow brings. It's just gonna be something good. I just believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, that's great. Tomorrow's
even
great.
In spite of the pandemic, in September I contracted COVID of last year, and at the time when I contracted, I was in Mississippi. I was working, and the crazy thing, I worked for a federal bureau. I was working for a federal bureau in spite of, but that's just a favor of God.
Word,
I was working for them, and they had sent me to Mississippi to work. And so I'm there working, and I contracted COVID. And so I was there in a hotel all alone with COVID. But I never believed that I was going to die.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to die, because I said, Lord, you did not bring me this far to leave me. You have brought me out of prison. I have COVID. I'm not going to die. What is it that you want me to see in this situation? And it was like he spoke. I want to show you I'm still in control, and I got you, and I'm going to continue to take care of you. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
That's what he did. I was totally healed from it. It went away. In 10 days, they retested me, and it was negative, and I was grateful. I was like, well, you said I had to quarantine 14 days. How is it over with in 10 days? And he's like, well, you must have had a light case of it or whatever, but I'm grateful. And I was away from my parents, that I didn't infect them.
Yeah.
Just the things that he continuously do.
See the blessings.
And,
and everything.
Yeah, and so I'm just grateful,
Awesome.
And I know so many people lost their lives, and it's such a sad situation. But, I'm grateful that he kept me, that I didn't, because I could have, or I could have had it, brought it home and gave it to my parents. And, it's so much could have happened, but it didn't, and I'm just so grateful.
It's so amazing, because I do feel like anything could happen to you, and then I would be hearing from you about how it turned into this wonderful, beautiful, grateful thing, because that's really, I can see you learned that. Maybe you had that before you went to prison, but what a what a lesson and what a thing you continue to practice. And like, there's so many examples of just turning the good and bad into good.
Yeah.
And being grateful for it. So
yes.
Thanks for sharing all of those.
Oh, it's such an honor. It's such an honor.
Okay. So I know everybody who listens to this is going to want to help. Where can we find you? How can the average person help?
Excuse me. So, you can reach me through the Midwest Innocence Project. You want to find me. And since then, I have started my own business called Innocence 2, and that's spelled TOO.
Okay.
Innocence 2.
That's
I have
exciting.
So I'm working on my own business, Innocence 2. And I have my email is innocence2@gmail.com.
Easy.
Yes, you can look
great.
me up. I'm still in the process of getting my website, and what my business is, I'm doing is giving back to those who are coming out of prison. Because I remember when I got out and I was catching the bus, to get everything I needed at times. So I do transportation. I take them to get their ID, take them to their doctor's appointments, take them to get their hair done, just different things that's so needed, in our community. So that's what I do. And so
that's amazing.
And I do that with my own funds, free of no charge. I use my own vehicle. I have a big vehicle.
It just keeps the goodness and the giving back just keeps going back.
And so,
you can see the need.
Yes.
And provide it. I love that.
Yes. And so that's what I do. And I do, of course, speaking, motivational speaking.
Yeah.
And that's what I do for my business, Innocence 2.
Innocence 2. Okay. So you can find her through Midwest Innocence Project. I'm sure you can find some of her interviews online.
Yes.
And then also support her next stage of, doing these amazing things for other people. So awesome. Thank you so much for being willing to share your story today.
Thank you for having me. It was such a joy.
It's been so inspiring. I can't wait for everybody to listen. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week.
Yes. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening today to With Kylie Nichols. I hope that today you felt empowered to take one more step towards living the best version of you. Tune in next week for another episode, and in the meantime, you can find us elsewhere on the internet. You can find me on Instagram at Kylie Nichols and at Nickel and Suede. You can also find us at nickelandswade.com. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.